any ideas about how we could run TFL in a more sustainable way?
So I think the situation that you're talking about is obviously TFL's quite unusual for a mass transit system for major cities in actually getting about 80% of its income from ticket sales. So that's a large percentage compared to other major cities where typically you'd see something closer to sort of 60% with the remaining coming from public subsidies. So of course, when you have a situation like we had in the spring and the summer where everyone is basically told to stay off the buses and the trains and the tubes, they obviously very quickly saw a plunge in their income. And the government had no choice but to bail them out because the consequences of allowing our transport system to decay, again, we're talking about what do we need to have in place to recover from this pandemic, and the idea that we would allow London's transport system to fall into, I don't know what would have happened if they hadn't had their bailout, but it's just unthinkable. It's not just because a properly funded and functioning public transport system is so necessary for people to get to work and to access employment opportunities, to develop those business opportunities, for people to interact with businesses, but also for our young people to make the most of the opportunities available for them. So the idea that we wouldn't have a decent, and not least once we get foreign visitors back, which obviously is a huge part of the London economy, to enable them to travel around.
Yeah.
So the government had no choice. I was really frustrated to see how they used the opportunity, and you've referred to this, to try and score some political points. So they wanted to abolish under-18s travel, for example, and their excuse was, well, under-18s in other parts of the country don't get free travel. I was like, well, that's not London. And my argument was always, well, then you're going to get parents driving them around. And, A, that's not good for people's safety because of road safety. It's not good for our carbon emissions, which is another really important priority to make sure they're reduced. And also it's just not good for young people's independence, confidence and self-esteem, that they've got to rely on their parents. So, for all of those reasons, I was a very strong campaigner against the idea that we would scrap free transport for under-18s, but that's just a microcosm. Again, they're trying to appeal to their voters in the north. We're not letting Londoners have things that you can't have. But again, it's just this very short-sighted, ignoring what London means to the rest of the country. And it's absolutely vital that London's economy can revitalise and recover. And I'm totally on board with the idea it might look different in the future. We might not go back to what we had before, but you've got to give London the opportunity to find new ways of trading, to find new business opportunities. I absolutely believe that we have all the talent we need right here in London to build the new economy that is going to happen after the pandemic. But it must, whatever it looks like, it must have a functioning transport system.